Welcome and hello from Alex, with a story from r/Today I Messed Up, where a parent accidentally took their daughter's ADHD medication instead of their own nighttime meds, leading to a sleepless and anxious night on a road trip. Coming up next is a story from Apple Farm. Today I fucked up by taking my daughter's ADHD medicine at 9:30 p.m. I am 40 female, currently on a road trip with my daughter, 9 female. We arrived at a random hotel last night about 9 p.m. and shortly after started getting ready for bed. My daughter has ADHD and takes Vyvanse. Well, somehow when I went to take my nighttime med I accidentally grabbed her 20 milligrams Vyvanse as opposed to my doxepin, and then took 2. It took me a few hours to piece it together. I was laying awake so anxious and grinding my teeth. It was an awful night, but at least I get to drive for 6 hours later. We may need to pull over at some point for sure. I take driving safety very seriously. Currently, I am still buzzing from the meds. Glad the grandparents are on the other end of this drive so I can hopefully nap. Definitely a big fuck up. Too long, didn't read. Took my kids Vyvanse at 9:30 p.m. instead of my own nighttime med. Have a 6-hour drive ahead of us. Later Opie actually posted an update on the story. Update. Got some sleep before leaving the hotel and made it to our final destination. I don't have time to sort through all the comments since we're spending time with family. I see a lot of people concerned about the use of stimulant ADHD medication, which I can understand if you don't know the science behind how it works. Some are also sharing their own bad experiences using stimulants to treat their ADHD. Anecdotal evidence can't be applied broadly. Once again, I understand and hear the concern. The use of this medication was not made lightly and is not the only intervention we are using for ADHD. Thanks though. Wow, what a mix-up. Taking your daughter's ADHD medication instead of your own nighttime meds sounds like a wild ride, especially right before bedtime. The thought of unknowingly buzzing from Vyvanse while gearing up for a 6-hour drive the next day is quite the predicament. Good thing everything turned out okay in the end. With some sleep and making it to your final destination, it's definitely a memorable story to share. Though I hope it doesn't become a habit. As for a fitting joke, well, it seems like this mix-up really gave new meaning to the term taking a trip. Coming up next is a story from LeatherDonut1527. Today I fucked up by calling my overly sniffing coworker creepy. Alright Reddit, here's how I messed up today. This coworker, 20 seconds female, is always super friendly and talks to me a lot. But there's one thing that throws me off. She constantly comments on how I smell different from our other colleagues of the same ethnicity. It's a compliment, I guess, but weirdly specific. So, today, I walk into the office, and it isn't there yet. But the second I enter, she calls out, "Is that you, Opus?" I say yes, and she replies, "Oh yeah, I thought I smelled you." Now, this wasn't my brightest moment, but I blurted out, "Yeah, that's not creepy at all." There were some laughs, but the atmosphere got weird. I apologized right away for calling her creepy, but she's been giving me the cold shoulder ever since. Today I fucked up by overreacting, or is this a valid discomfort level? Too long, didn't read. Coworker, keeps complimenting my distinct scent and seems to track me by smell. It weirds me out. Today, she confirmed it again. I panicked and called it creepy, probably not the best choice. Now he's mad. Did I overstep, or is this a valid concern? Edit, to clarify a few details. I am a man in my late 22nd. The coworker, is a woman in her 22nd. When she commented on my scent, we weren't looking at each other and there was some distance between us, around 1.5 meters. I do wear cologne, and she has complimented it in the past. This comment about smelling me was the first thing she said to me, and it initiated our conversation. As far as I know, she isn't romantically interested in me. In fact, I believe I overheard her mention being a lesbian to other colleagues. I typically receive compliments on my cologne from both men and women. Whoa, Opie definitely walked into a bit of a fragrance minefield there. On the one hand, the coworker's constant scent-based greetings are a tad unique. I mean, who uses their nose like a human bloodhound? Kind of throws good morning out the window, doesn't it? On the other hand, calling it creepy might have been a bit much. Maybe intriguing olfactory detection skills next time. All jokes aside, it's a tricky situation. A simple "that is interesting" might have been enough to nudge things back to normal. Here's hoping Opie can clear the air with a genuine apology and maybe even a compliment on a spidey sense of smell. Coming up next is a story from Adam-Scotty. Today I fucked up by learning that my phone has been electrocuting me every time I charge it. Had this phone, Samsung S20, for 2 years now and noticed about a year ago that whenever I charged it I would get a slightly tingly feeling and occasionally a sharp pain like poking yourself with a needle. I'm not that clever and just thought it was something else and wasn't too bothered about it. That was until today. My younger brother, who an electrician, was around mine today and he picked my phone up while it was charging and asked why it electrocuted him. I was confused by that, so after he messed around with my phone a bit and realized that when my phone is charging it electrocutes you. Tried with different chargers, but it's definitely the phone. He was surprised I hadn't realized. Guess I had at some point, but it just became the norm after a while, so I lived with it. So safe to say I think it'll a wise investment to get a new phone as soon as possible. Too long. Didn't read. Phones aren't meant to electrocute you when charging and I should probably get a new one. Ouch. Sounds like Opie has been living on the edge. Literally, getting a tingly feeling from your phone every time you charge it. That's not a built-in massage function. That's a recipe for disaster. Maybe next time the phone whispers, "Hey buddy, you feeling lucky?" It's a sign to unplug, not tempt fate. In all seriousness, good on Opie's brother for stepping in. Here's hoping the new phone comes with a side of safety, because electricity and phone calls should definitely not be a package deal. Coming up next is a story from lusciouskagney, and if you like the video so far, don't forget to like the video. It only takes a second and helps me out a lot. Today I fucked up by snitching on my bestie. So recently I got my best friend, 21 female, in trouble with her parents. I was at her place staying the night and talking with her dad. I always liked chatting with her family and we got along really well. Anyway, I didn't realize she was keeping it a secret, but I started talking about the guy she's been seeing at college. Her dad looked really confused, like I wasn't speaking English. I knew pretty quickly that I messed up and should have known she was keeping it a secret. It turns out she's been telling her parents this whole time she's a virgin and saving it for marriage due to their religion. How have I never known they were hardcore Christians until now? I was in shock and felt so stupid. What's even crazier is all the things I know this girl has done. I wonder how her parents would react if they knew everything. Too long. Didn't read. I told my bestie's dad about her new boyfriend, then realized after that her whole family are hardcore Christians and she isn't even supposed to be dating. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. It sounds like a classic case of foot and mouth syndrome. Poor OP inadvertently spilled the beans about her bestie's secret relationship, only to realize she was treading on delicate ground with her friend's family being devout Christians. Talk about an awkward situation. It's like stepping on a landmine without realizing it was there in the first place. As for a joke, well, it seems OP didn't just put her foot in her mouth, she went straight for the whole dance routine. Coming up next is a story from SentimentalSavage. Today I fucked up by macing my boyfriend. This didn't actually happen today, but it might as well have since it gets brought up so often. When me and my boyfriend first started dating, I was staying at his apartment a lot, like staying days at a time and only going home on weekends, if that. Well, there was a time period of about 2 months where we started pranking each other. Nothing crazy, just some harmless pranks that were so minuscule I can't even remember most of them. Think changing the TV channel or putting an ice cube down their shirt. But there was one prank that started this whole thing. I was in the shower and he poured ice cold freezing water with ice cubes all over me. The bathroom was set up so that if someone moved sneakily you really wouldn't see them until it was too late, so I was caught 100% off guard. A few minutes after, when I warmed up again, it was hilarious, so I thought it was my time to get him back. So using my logic, I thought to myself, what would be the best prank ever? And I came up with the solution. I am gonna make him sneeze. And how do you make someone sneeze? According to all the shows I've seen in my childhood, just use black pepper. So that's the first mistake. He was sitting at his desktop and I went to the kitchen and poured the entire remaining bottle of black pepper into my hand and went to go stand by him. Because in my logic, more black pepper equals more sneeze. I called his name a few times, and when he looked over at me, I blew the entire thing into his face. He immediately fell to the ground screaming. At first I thought he was laughing, so I was laughing too. But to my absolute horror, when I actually looked at him, there were tears pouring out and snot and screaming, and I realized he was definitely not laughing. I quickly grabbed some water in a glass and threw it in his face, then grabbed some milk and threw it in his face. And that calmed him down enough for me to grab him and shove him in the shower, and turned on the water and forcefully opened his eyes under the shower. I spent the next week apologizing and waiting on him hand and foot, and he definitely took advantage, lol, but I am surprised I had a boyfriend after that. His eyes were swollen, burned and bloodshot for 2 weeks after that. Apparently black pepper is one of the main ingredients for pepper spray and mace SMH, and he didn't even sneeze. Too long. Didn't read. Using cartoon logic, I tried to make my boyfriend sneeze using black pepper and broke the blood vessels in his eyes for 2 weeks. Oh dear, talk about a prank gone terribly wrong. OP's attempt to prank her boyfriend with a classic sneeze-inducing maneuver from childhood cartoons turned into a full-blown disaster. Who would have thought that black pepper could have such devastating effects? It's like a comedy of errors, except with a not-so-funny outcome. Poor boyfriend ended up with swollen, burning eyes for weeks. I guess sometimes cartoon logic doesn't quite translate into real life. As for a fitting joke, well, it seems OP's prank was a real eye-opener for her boyfriend. Coming up next is a story from CheatedOnGithub. Today I fucked up by teaching my girlfriend to code. So this happened last week and I am still processing this crazy mess. Was debating even posting this because it's so embarrassing. I think I am the first person in history this has ever happened to. And for everyone's sake, I hope I am the last too. For context, I, 22 male, am a software engineer just graduated from a somewhat prestigious university, which is where I met my ex-girlfriend Allie, 21 female, fake name. We've been dating for 3 years. I got a pretty good job fresh out of college, and Allie is in her last year right now as an art student. She's never been very technologically inclined, so I help her a lot with software and her drawing tablet when she's having issues. Well, a few months ago she comes to me out of nowhere asking me to help her with coding. Interesting, I thought. Why the sudden interest? She said she's been dating a comp sci student for 3 years now, so it's only right she learns a bit of what I do, especially since I am always helping her with her work. I thought it was really sweet actually. I taught her some basics with Python, and for the next couple weeks I basically tutored her every day, and we built a little command line program to print out stars in different patterns and even a simple calculator program. After that initial couple of weeks, it sort of dropped off a little bit, but I would see her watching YouTube videos sometimes. A couple of months go by without her asking me for help with anything. And then last week is when she asked me to help her with GitHub. For those who don't know, GitHub is a website for collaborative source control for software. It's basically like the Google Docs of programming. I was a bit surprised and impressed that she learned about it and wanted to use it. And even more surprised to see she actually had an account already that she made not that long after I was teaching her Python basics. She just needed help resolving a merge conflict on a PR. Nothing too bad, so I helped her with it and explained a bit about divergent branches. She thanked me and went back to the couch with her laptop. This is where I fucked up. After helping her out, I decided to check out her GitHub profile and saw she had a few other repositories already. One of them caught my attention because, well, it was literally just called sex. I opened it and there were a ton of images in the repo. I clicked one open and it was a nude of her. Nice, although I should really teach her to private her repositories. Before I go do that, I decided to look around more pictures and was jump scared by a particular nude. It wasn't of her, it was a man. There were more, a lot more. I finally scrolled down to the readme and it was long. And it appeared to be a long text, or rather sext exchange between her and what I can only assume is her affair partner Alex. Real name because fuck you Alex. They signed off messages asking when the other is free and talking about pics they uploaded and what they want to do and shit. Things I really wish I hadn't read. I noticed there was another contributor in the repo, and it looks like she's been cheating on me with a fucking freshman in our CS department. I guess he's inexperienced enough to not know to private a fucking repo, or maybe he just didn't notice. But that's all there. Cheated on through GitHub. What happened to email? So anyways, that's where I've been for the past week. I still don't know what to do or if any of this is even real. I took a screen recording in case they do learn to private it, but I just don't know what to do now still. What the fuck do I do? Too long, didn't read. I am a software engineer who started helping my art student girlfriend learn to program. I look at her GitHub and find out she's been cheating on me with a freshman and communicating through a GitHub repository. Wow, dude, talk about a plot twist straight out of a bad hacker movie. GitHub for sexting. Who knew that was a thing? Although, gotta say, using a public repo for that kind of stuff is some next level rookie move. Like, come on, people, at least use private notes. On the bright side, at least you found out this way instead of dragging it out any longer. Sucks that you had to see all that, though. Maybe bleach your brain with cat videos for a while. Seriously though, this is a lot to process. Don't blame you for being confused. If it were me, I'd probably take some time to figure out what you want to do, but with that evidence, confronting her seems like a pretty clear next step. Good luck, man. You deserve better than secret code messages and questionable coding practices. That wraps up r/Today I Messed Up. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to visit my Spotify channel, link is in the description, so you can listen to the best Reddit story while being outside, and remember to hit that subscribe button.